We see Saudi Arabia as the country of oil and strict Islam, where women wear veils and kisses are edited out from films. But suddenly, there was a new crown prince. He says he wants to reform the country, women get more rights and tourists will soon be welcome. The country has become less dependent on oil. At the same time, the people are ruled with an iron fist. One wrong word can have serious consequences. In this year of changes, I travel around the country and follow the developments on the inside through the eyes of the citizens. Are they just empty promises, or is Saudi Arabia really able to change?
We rijden echt nu langs een bergketen en verderop ligt er een heel klein stadje en dat heet Medensala. En dat is een hele oude historische stad. Een beetje zo verborgen tussen de bergen. Bijna maagdelijk gebied. Je komt daar gewoon niet vaak. En al helemaal niet in een land wat niet open is voor toerisme.
For years, Saudi Arabia kept her treasures hidden. But with oil revenues decreasing, Crown Prince bin Salman is looking for new sources of income. He wants to open the country up to tourism. I'm taking a sneak preview.
Helemaal uitgestorven. Niemand. En het gebied is ook afgesloten. Nou, ik heb het hele rijk voor mezelf hier. Echt fascinerend dit. Ze hebben een hele stad uit rots gehouden hier. Dit waren een van de eerste bewoners van dit Arabische schiereiland. Ik kan er net niet bij, maar je ziet oud-Arabische tekens die in de rots zijn gegraveerd. En dat is van de periode nog voor de islam.
This place is cursed. According to tradition, Allah wanted to punish the Thamudi, the original inhabitants, for their barbaric ways, as they had killed a camel mother. The area was ravaged by earthquakes and lightning strokes. Muslims aren't allowed to visit this place, according to the hadith.
En er staat letterlijk in dat als je door dit gebied komt, dan moet je of huilen of keihard wegrennen. Allemaal haksporen. En dit was de plek waar de spullen werden neergelegd voor mensen die overleden waren. En dat waren dan sieraden, wapens. En dat was bedoeld voor de doden die hier lagen in hun reis naar het hiernamaals. Nou ja, het is echt onbegrijpelijk dat ze hier zo weinig mee doen.
The Saudi government wants people to forget the curse and visit the site. The green light will need to be given by Crown Prince bin Salman. Luxurious tents have already been set up and I am the only guest sleeping here.
Oké. We zijn er helemaal klaar voor. Nu nog de toeristen.
These changes are driven by the country's young people. 70% of the population is less than 30 years old. This demographic group increasingly doesn't want to be told what to do.
نتجمع في جروب عندنا
في جروب اقرا انجليزي قاعد جنبي
Jambu Riders Group.
ايوه.
ما فيش مال كبوليس؟
ها؟
ما فيش مال؟ نو؟
نو بس هذا ممنوع يمشي هنا لانه ما في لوحه ولا استماره.
ممنون.
ممنوع. هذا اذا شافته الحكومه هنا خلاص تشيله.
هذا غالي؟
ايوه.
ايوه
20,000 ريال.
فلوس من هون؟
انا شغال فلوس انا اجيبها من دوامي. انا اشتغل عسكري هذا صواب.
عسكري?
Yes.
Nee, nu stopt er weer een witte auto. En waarschijnlijk moeten we zo even uitleggen wat we hier doen. Wat we eigenlijk constant doen in dit land, bij elke stap.
These guys are taking a big risk talking about this. Out on the streets, we are accompanied by a man from the Ministry of Media. He takes pictures for his report. The government keeps a check on everything.
طبعا اكيد شيء خطير لانه احنا لابسين سيفتي يعني ما احنا لابسين خوذه ما احنا لابسين الله يكرمك بوت ما احنا لابسين قفازات شيء اكيد بيكون خطير.
The guys disappear in traffic again. They remain anonymous. They didn't give their names. Saudi Arabia's new strongman, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, says he feels connected to young people. MBS, as he's called, says he wants to embark on a new course. The feared religious police that checks whether Islamic laws are respected is restrained and women get more rights.
أولاً هذا ليس حلم. هذا واقع سوف يتحقق إن شاء الله. إحنا لا نحلم، إحنا نفكر بواقع سوف يتحقق إن شاء الله.
You gonna mug me? I'm not gonna mug you.
Is that gorgeous or what, eh?
And I believe I can run a decent marathon.
Thank you very much.
Download Veely now.
In Jeddah, the gateway to Saudi Arabia, the fight for reforms has been fought for years below the surface. Abir Abu Suleiman is one of its fiercest warriors. She wants to receive official permission for guiding visitors.
So this is a characteristics in all the historical cities. Okay, let's go from here. If your guest is not interested, you stop, you move to the next movement. My father was attaché culturel, so we had to move with him since the age of 9 years old. So I love traveling, I love tourism, and this is what made me start as a tour guide. Now I have been working 7 years in a new job.
Was at that time a lot of women tourist guides?
Well, I was the only one.
Wow, the only one?
Yes.
You started?
Yes, as a female.
Did you get any negative reactions?
The only negative reaction that I had was from the men tour guide. They didn't like this competition. These men, they will go and write a complaint because I was not certified. The certificate is only for men.
As a woman, you can't get a certificate.
Of a tour guide. Some of them went to the police station.
And what happened with the complaints?
When they saw my case, they were laughing. There is no killing, there is no injuries. What is this? So I explained. They said, just continue, but try to bring a permission from a higher rank, and this is what happened. Hopefully, in a few months, I'm going to get my license.
Official?
After 8 years, officially. What characterizes the city of Jeddah? Look up.
Roshan.
Yes, Kamal. What is Roshan?
Roshan, it's a Persian word, means like window.
While Abir awaits official permission, she tries to train the next generation. Young guides who received permission from their parents to guide foreigners.
You will take the role of explaining.
المكان ده بس ولا
هذا المكان.
We can notice here few things. The first thing is that the houses are so close to each other, and they also used to name them as houses. They don't say building or such. And what makes the house unique is also their doors or their gates. See, every single door of every single house is unique, and you cannot find two identical doors. Okay?
This is my girl. And you see the ventilation that is coming.
Nou, er zijn echt vele vrouwen zoals Abir in het Midden-Oosten die ja, ontzettend strijdvaardig zijn.
You look at their face. Yani,
Maar ja, de vraag is of die hervormingen zich doorzetten. Ja, en dat moet ik nog maar even zien.
I am fighting for this. The problem, they are private ownership.
What do you study?
I study English and translation.
I can imagine it's not easy for a girl to be a
Yes.
tourist guide, maybe for some families.
Well, yes, it's because there are a lot of men around us, and that's kind of creeps them out a bit.
Is it the man who gives negative reactions?
Well, yes, sometimes it's men, other times it's women, but mostly men. When they see you doing a good thing, better than them, they will be like, why would you do that? Why is she better than us? So we faced many issues because we're women here working. When the women start driving, there'll be a lot of problems from...
What problems?
You know, men might be aggressive sometimes, if you ever notice on Twitter, some people talk that they will burn the cars of women, that they will hit the women, that they will harass her and stuff.
Really?
Yes, they do that a lot.
But what is their problem?
It's kind of hard to get the picture of us women working, and there are a lot of guys listening to us.
It's very brave.
I love it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The new freedoms for women have been dictated by the Crown Prince. Women who profit from it, like Farah and Abir, feel strengthened by it.
But Abir, is it not better that change comes from the bottom than from above and put it on people?
Do I have to wait centuries to have the right to drive? Do we have to wait centuries to have the right not to have a guardian? So as long as we have these small groups who are disturbing our development, no, it must come from up. This is the only way to let everybody accept the changes.
A lot of resistance needs to be overcome. From clergymen, the government, the conservative part of the population. Steps are being made. But if you want to survive, it's crucial that you know how far you can go. Malik Najer teaches me how to recognize these limits. He provokes the authorities every day and has become hugely popular.
We made a show named Masamir. It's distributed online. We've surpassed 750 million views.
750 million views. Wow. Yeah. In the whole Middle East.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Such a big success.
It's basically, we go to places where other people don't dare to go. And I think there is a sense of novelty when you see some characters that represents your society. And I think this is what people see in our creations.
So the cartoons are from the real life of Saudi Arabia, yeah. From real people also, yeah, inspired by real people.
We tackle a lot of taboos in our society. Animation allows you to go further than what you would usually do.
You get more tolerated.
Exactly. It's like a joker dancing around the king and making jokes. And the king will just tolerate this joker because after all, he's not a serious figure.
What's your favorite character?
I'd say Dr. Adel.
This is Dr. Adel?
Yeah, this is Dr. Adel. He's feeding his pet frog. And the pet frog doesn't really like him very much.
For the Saudis, this is a new type of social commentary. The show exposes all kinds of problems in society. Most of all, Malik lets his animated figures ridicule the government.
Yeah, I'm going to do Dr. Adel.
Dr. Adel, okay.
Right, and he would go something like this. أنا مثل ما قلت وحطوها بالمفضلة أمام الحوثي 3 خيارات بعد مقتل علي عبد الله
الثدي مثل ما هو معروف يا أخوان. هنا لحظة، معي زميلي الأستاذ نافع من الشباب المتطوعين. بداية مثل ما نعرف الثدي هنا بهالمنطقة تقريبا.
It is only when people are horrified that means, okay, you're breaking new grounds. Now, that is a thin line, right? Because you want to create this conflict, but you don't want to overdo it.
But isn't it difficult to break down taboos?
It is, but every time we create something, we tend to gauge what's going on. And so I've created something about women's rights issues, right? I've created something that is mocking this ridiculous idea of women are not allowed to drive. And so what we do is basically we just, we start piece by piece. First time we just show a woman that drives.
BMW 335 أقودها بنفسي. ما عندنا حريم يسوقن.
And so the second time she turns him into a car. She's driving him, right? She's driving on his back. And I remember when we put that, we got a lot of negative feedback.
Is that a red line?
It used to be. Okay. It used to be. I mean, I was there, right? 5 years ago, it was a red line.
Yeah.
People would get furious about that.
Farah ignores all the comments she gets when she's not wearing a niqab or goes out without a guardian. She is willing to give me a peek into her life. We meet somewhere so that I can give her her first driving lessons.
It's easy.
Should I press this button again?
Button. Press that.
Press it?
Yes.
You don't want to put your seatbelt?
Yeah, I will.
Comfortable with it?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable.
All right.
Your mirror. You have acceleration and you have the brake. Take it very slow from the brake now. Oh. That's good. Yes, like this. Very good. Yeah. Just be careful. Brake, 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 brake. Slowly brake. Yes, very good. Okay, but don't accelerate. How does it feel driving?
It feels good.
Yeah?
It feels good.
Is it special for you?
I think it is, yes. First time driving, nobody says no. Out of 10, how good am I?
You are fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Did your mom ever drive?
No, she never did. Actually, she's not a supporter of driving.
No? She's not?
No,
Okay.
my dad is, but she's not.
And why your mother doesn't want...
She's not used to it.
Yeah, okay.
To the whole idea. It's, like I said, not part of the culture or anything. So they're moving slowly, step by step. It's like in our religion, it's not wrong to drive. It's not wrong to open our faces.
You never had a niqab?
No, never. So it's kind of personal. See, nowadays women can open their hairs, they can open their faces. We have this thing, it's called the hay'a. They were very active. Like we were walking in a mall. I remember that. I was once walking in a mall and my abaya was open from down. So the guy came and he yelled at me. He was like, close your abaya. The whole mall heard me. Wallahi, the whole mall heard that.
Where are they now?
They're gone now.
So what would happen if we were talking like this 3 years ago here on this corniche?
Oh, that would be super wrong. Like, you and I would be freaked out. Like, don't talk to me. Pretend you're doing something there. Just don't talk to me directly. It would be so weird to do that.
The Haya, the feared religious police, may have been disbanded, but this doesn't mean that Farah and I aren't being watched. We managed to brush the attention off. For a while, I am afraid she won't dare to continue, but she won't let the man intimidate her.
Men here, some of them have control over women. Like, she's mine, no one gets to look at her, she doesn't do anything behind my back, my word that goes right and everything. But there are others that knows that we're actual human, we have rights, and we have life, we really need a life. Like, I can't walk behind a man my whole life.
One would think that more women would take the freedom of dropping the veil, now that the Haya is powerless. But the ancient Islamic regulations are still being respected.
Nou, deze grote shoppingmalls in Saudi-Arabië, dat zijn echt fascinerende plekken. De Saudis hebben geld om te besteden. En dat zie je ook echt allemaal aan die dure winkels hier. Maar toch blijven ze trouw aan hun tradities. Wat je ziet is dus gescheiden ingangen. Eén voor mannen. En de andere ingang staat families. Maar daarmee wordt eigenlijk bedoeld vrouwen en kinderen vooral. Nou ja, en wat je dus ook ziet, is dat als het gebed begint, dat dan heel langzaam die rolluiken omlaag gaan. En dan stopt het leven even hier in de shoppingmall. Wordt toegelachen door vrouwelijk winkelpersoneel. En dat komt omdat sinds een paar jaar mogen vrouwen dus werken. En wat je dus ziet is, bijvoorbeeld in deze shoppingmall, dat het winkelpersoneel voornamelijk uit vrouwen bestaat. De vrouwen hebben de shoppingmall overgenomen hier.
The shopping mall is slowly emptying out. These men are also going to pray. They still support the work of the Haya. One of them is willing to talk, but we can't speak freely in the shopping mall. We are being watched too closely for that. He would rather receive me on his own territory. I am invited to visit him outside of the city.
Oh! بيض أوه أوه بيض بيضة.
هنا يعني الصيد، يعني الحمام، الأرانب، الإبل ترعى هنا. 25 30 25 30. سبحان من هو. تعاج المدينة لا أحبه، أجلس يوميا أتمشى، أريح عن نفسي، مشاغل الدنيا شوي، استرخاء. يلا طلع ولدها طلعه. يلا.
ايه شعيب.
يلا. Oh, hello. Good.
Oh,
milk.
Sure. Oh, very good.
Good.
Fresh.
Fresh. Good. Number good. شوف هذه الرغوة. شوف كذا.
Outside of the cities, conservatism still rules supreme. Many supporters of Al-Haya can be found here. For Walid, the organization is also of the highest importance.
اشتغلت في الهيئة لكني أعمل في الهيئة. يعني أمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر واجب على كل مسلم. إذا رأى الخطأ يقول هذا خطأ، وإذا رأى الصح يقول هذا صح. فكلنا نعتبر كلنا في الهيئة. ليس الدين محتكر على شخص ملتحي أو غير ملتحي. وأحيانا آتي بزجر ولا يقبلها الشخص. فالناس ليسوا سواسية. في من يأتي معه بالزجر يعني لا يجوز ويقبل، وفي من يأتي معه بالتسامح لا يجوز بالأسلوب الجميل يقبل. فالناس ليسوا سواسية، في من يقبل الشدة في من لا يقبل الشدة.
لا شدة.
إيه، فالدين دين الوسط. الوسطية جميلة.
Walid fanatically clings to the demands Al-Haya puts on women, such as the mandatory wearing of the abaya.
ورادع لكل شخص يبحث عن الفتنة أو يغويه جمال هذه المرأة.
نساء دون أباية ممكن؟
عندما أراها هي متبرجة أو كاشفة أنصحها. هي أصلا في واقع حياتها تدري أنها على غلط، بس أنها تستحي. وبعضهم الشيطان يكبر هذه المعصية عندها ويجعلها تجادلك، تقول لا أنا لست على حرام، وأنا ليه شايفني مثلا فك عبايتي. لا
مرة هنا مظلومة؟
ليس النساء ليست مظلومات، النساء روح من جسدنا. فالمرأة جزء لا يتجزأ أبدا من حياتنا. المرأة خلف كل رجل امرأة عظيمة. فنساءنا عظيمات، نساءنا عفيفات، نساؤنا صابرات تصبر على شقائنا يا الرجال. فالنصيحة والأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر بالأسلوب وبالتي هي أحسن، سواء في الماضي أو في الحاضر.
Erg opmerkelijk is dat hij zichzelf dus gematigd moslim noemt, maar wel het als taak ziet om dus vrouwen op straat aan te spreken op hun gedrag of op hun kleding. Het lijkt me best intimiderend. En ik kan me ook voorstellen dat je denkt, ja, waar bemoei jij je nou mee? Ik bedoel, het is mijn geloof. Ik mag daar zelf invulling aan geven zoals ik dat zelf wil. Maar hij ziet dat als heel normaal.
The walls in this country are almost impenetrable. Conservatism on one side, more freedoms on the other. Cafes and restaurants have separate rooms for men and women. There are exceptions, and I meet Farah in one of them. She finds it difficult to escape from these traditions. She's open about that.
And how's Ashk?
How's Ashk? Well, I got engaged, but it was arranged marriage by my parents.
How did it start?
The guy who got proposed for me was from our family. I kind of had this hard pressure on me to say yes, and I said yes, I did. We got engaged for 3 to 4 months, and then things turned out to be very, like, how can I say that? First, he didn't want me to work as a tour guide, and he preferred me working in a female area only. I didn't agree to that.
So he didn't want you to work as a tour guide?
Yes.
And that's your dream?
Yeah, he just told me, just leave it in your mind that I don't want you to do that. So he didn't just say no and refused in the first place, but you never know.
She managed to get out of the arranged marriage. She prefers to show tourists around. The only question is how she will now meet her future partner.
How do girls and boys meet each other?
Through work, relatives, or a friend.
Not spontaneously? Just in a cafe like this?
Well, if it happened spontaneously, like you mean I would get up and or that guy would get up and come and sit with me and start talking?
or just that you have a date here.
That's pretty odd. I don't know. It never happened to me, so I don't know. It would be weird if a guy came and said, "Can I grab a cup of coffee with you?" It would be weird. So no, what do you want? Just stay away from me.
In the West, there is a lot of places where you can meet someone.
Well, there are like mixed parties that we're not allowed to do, but it happens anyway. I get invitations to these parties, but come on.
You don't go?
I don't like it. Police come, the Jims Al Aswad, the black van. first they'll take the whole girls and guys, call their parents, and then send them home.
Young Saudis have their own rituals with which they provoke the police. They look for ways to get into touch with each other.
Nou, hier op het pleintje zoeken jongens en meisjes elkaar op. En nou, ik zie daar al een groep meisjes zonder abaya. En die worden dan ook meteen aangesproken door de jongens. Het is eigenlijk een soort kat-en-muisspel. Er is geen fysiek contact. En de meiden die gaan er nu al vandoor omdat ze worden aangesproken. Gewoon grenzen opzoeken. Dat broeit weer. Why the guys were running?
Because police.
Police?
Yeah.
But why they are running for police?
Because it's family.
Did he talk to a girl? What did he do?
No. We were just walking.
Yeah?
And they catch us.
But what happens when the police catches you?
You go to the bus and then they get you to a small prison.
A small prison?
Yes.
Yeah?
Just for 2 hours, 3 hours.
You also chasing girls?
Yes.
Yes.
That police.
Yes.
Come. Run.
الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. لا. محمد العلف متى؟
الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا
هذا لو هذا يعني يطلع مع خويته المطعم هذا لو شافته الهيئة ولا عرفوا الحكومة يمسك. ومخالف أنظمة الدولة ولا مخالف أنظمة دين الله عز وجل قبل كل شيء. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
أين الحاد؟
شوف سو كل ما تريد افعل ما تريد وما تشتهي نفسك إلا الحرام وقف. الحرام الذي لا يرضي الله عز وجل وقف عنده. وألبس ثوب وأطلع للبر وأسبح وأقنص وأسافر برا، لكن شرب الخمر والاختلاط بالنساء العاهرات لا، هنا حدود.
شو هلا الحرام هنا؟ بكيني حرام؟ يا
بكيني
لباس النساء في
أصبحت فرد، صارت فرد؟ لا ما أقدر أجاوب ذي. لا
بكيني حرام؟
تطلع للناس في الناس حرام ويجي سلامات. تخيل واحدة طلعت لك تتزين ما يجي. تورطنا يا سنان. ليس باليسار باليمين. امسك هذا امسك. اي لا ليس إيه. ايوه باليمين. هذه سنة محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام.
إيه. سلفي؟
نعم ندعو إلى الله وليس أي مسمى.
He feels the duty to compel young people to live according to Sharia law. He has come up with a special plan to spread the Islamic faith.
بس اكسر الطابة.
شو هذا؟
هذا مصلى متنقل يأتي الأماكن التي لا يوجد بها مسجد أبداً.
مسجد؟
نو مسجد، أماكن فاميلي، شباب، يأتي جميع الأماكن. شوف
Echt onvoorstelbaar.
هنا في TV.
Het is een mobiele moskee, dus Als er ergens geen moskee is, dan komt de moskee naar jou toe. Zelfs een kruintje voor het rituele wassen. Oh, en de bidkleedjes ook nog? Ze hebben alles.
Yalla shabab.
Nou, het gebeurt op een voetbalveldje.
Alla mosk.
En een mosk.
Ja. Ewa yalla.
Yes.
هذا؟
هذا أذان
أذان هنا نصلي.
Toch een vrij handige manier om jongeren toch zo warm te maken voor het geloof. En uiteindelijk natuurlijk ook min of meer dwingen om te bidden. Want daar gaat het natuurlijk om. De mobiele moskee is niet voor niks uitgerukt naar het voetbalveld.
فغض النظر عن جميع البلدان العالم فهذه أبشرك يعني أنها متواجدة هنا في المملكة العربية السعودية بأكثر.
الإسلام تغير؟
نو الإسلام لا يتغير في السعودية أبدا. الإسلام واحد. المملكة العربية السعودية مسلمين كلهم لكن أريد أن العالم كله مسلمين. لا تبارز الله عز وجل بالمعاصي فيقصم ظهرك. يقول النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام صلوا على الحبيب ما من رجل يذنب ذنبا ذنب واحد كم ذنب سوينا كثير.
The message is clear. Walid wants the entire world to become Muslim. Right after I have left, Walid puts comments on our meeting online. I see that he has over 1 million followers.
محتوى اللقاء ان يعني هل المرأة مظلومة عندكم؟ ليش المرأة انتم تجبرونها بالغطاء؟ قلت لا هذا ديننا. المرأة لها فخر مثل ما انت تحب تاكل وتشرب، المرأة تحب تتحجب وتحب تتغطى وانها تفتخر بهذا الغطاء الاسلامي.
This is the conservatism that is blocking new freedoms. Anybody who opposes it will be resisted.
Which thing was where you get most negative reactions about?
Yeah, there was an episode that we created. These three guys who decided to be, you know, we have the Hay'a here in Saudi Arabia,
yes,
which is the
religious police.
Religious police. And pretty recently they started losing their grip on society, right? We created this episode where these three people who do the same thing but in a reverse way. They go out, find people who are not happy, who are not enjoying life, and making sure they enjoy. So you can see this guy, he's obviously a religious figure. And then there's this guy on the other side here. He's liberal. He calls the police and he tells them, I see a guy who doesn't look happy. You guys need to come over here and sort it out immediately. You know, they go.
This is how they always come normally.
Yeah, yeah. And there's the logo. Why aren't you smiling? And this guy has a good reason not to smile because he had a bad day. And then they just said, okay guys, take him in.
This is a reversal of what happened there.
Yeah, exactly. This is a reversal of what happens.
With his animations, Malik helped erode the authority of the religious police. But where is the limit? To survive in this country, it is crucial that you know how far you can go.
You're walking in a minefield, right? And so that's how it is. This is how the game is played.
Is religion a red line?
It depends on what is it.
Yeah. But can you make fun of the royal family?
You can't. You can't make funny things about the royal house.
So that's a red line?
That is a red line, yeah. This might put us into trouble.
So I'm also walking in a minefield as a journalist.
Well, you are, but by the time this will be published, you'll be somewhere safe.
Malik's fear is justified. A few weeks later, there is an example of why pushing the limits is dangerous. Just before the prohibition on women driving is cancelled, a couple of activists who fought for that are arrested. They are accused of espionage and treason. It causes a lot of confusion. What is the direction of the reforms?
Daar is het gebouw van de Nationale Mensenrechtencommissie. En ik probeer al wekenlang een afspraak met ze te maken, maar ze geven niet thuis. En dat zegt eigenlijk genoeg. Elk jaar verschijnen er alarmerende rapporten over dit land. Hè, hoe slecht het gesteld is met de mensenrechten. Hè, er zijn nu nog een paar maanden geleden tientallen activisten opgepakt. Een aantal hebben lange gevangenisstraffen gekregen. En ze weten natuurlijk dat het heel moeilijk te verdedigen is.
It is under these circumstances that I meet Farah again. I am tense. I am curious how she holds out. The mood in the country has changed so much that it isn't clear how far we can go during our conversation.
Hey Farah.
Hey, this is Sinan. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Back.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Yeah, please have a seat.
This is a very exciting place here.
It's really nice atmosphere here. Well, you don't see the separation between men and female here, so that's another advantage of the place, I think, you know.
Is this the new Saudi Arabia, Farah, or is it just a free place?
Oh God. Well, let's just call it a free place.
Yeah.
We don't know how Saudi Arabia is gonna be.
I see girls without hijab. Do you also come without hijab to this camp?
Oh no.
No?
No, not in general, no.
Not yet?
No, not. That's what I was brought up, so.
So you're not going to take it off?
No.
Also not in the future?
Well, you don't know. People change, beliefs change with time, so you never know.
Farah hopes that the changes will be carried through and that she will have the same opportunities as the men around her.
Do you have your license?
No, not yet. It's too expensive.
Why? Why it's expensive?
Well, comparing it to guys' license, it's about 2,000 to 3,000 for us females, and for guys it's 400 riyals.
So women pay more than men?
It's really unfair, but I think they want to, you know, let good drivers go out to the world, not just anyone.
So the thing is that you know what's going on in Saudi Arabia.
Before we could talk about anything, but now there is the something criminal. You know, if you said something that against the will of the country, you get
problems.
Yes, you get a lot of problems.
Caught between tradition and modernization, Farah tries to find her way. She has tasted freedom for a short while, until the royal family intervened. It's clear that openness in Saudi Arabia has its limits. Next week, I managed to infiltrate Saudi Arabia's elite. How loyal are people to the royal family after being accused of killing Khashoggi?
It was a total error, it was a crime and all, and the government has accepted the fact.
We see Saudi Arabia as the country of oil and strict Islam, where women wear veils and kisses are edited out from films. But suddenly, there was a new crown prince. He says he wants to reform the country, women get more rights and tourists will soon be welcome. The country has become less dependent on oil. At the same time, the people are ruled with an iron fist. One wrong word can have serious consequences. In this year of changes, I travel around the country and follow the developments on the inside through the eyes of the citizens. Are they just empty promises, or is Saudi Arabia really able to change? The pride of Saudi Arabia is the Arabian horse. It is fast, nimble, and it has a lot of stamina. The Saudis admire this animal to no end.
Nou, het is echt een prachtig dier. Fantastisch. En die bewondering, dat gaat eigenlijk best wel ver terug. Dat was met de Bedouinen in dit land die dit paard verder hebben ontwikkeld. Dat was Abdulaziz Al Saoud, die op zijn Arabische paard met zijn mannen Riyadh binnenviel. En uiteindelijk dus de macht in dit land ook greep. En hij bouwde het koninkrijk van Saudi-Arabië op.
تتبادل أنت وياه الإحساس فزي ما ما نقول حب نعديه درجة الحب نقول أخذ مرحلة الشغف.
هذا شهادة رمز سعودي؟
والله شيء أكيد أنه بيكون رمز للدولة السعودية. لأن والدنا ووحدة الجزيرة العربية بفضل الله ثم بفضل الملك عبد العزيز عربية فأعتقد أنه رمز رمز رمز.
الحصان مصدر فخرك؟
نعم موجودة الفرس أجده.
ممكن نشوف هذا الحصان؟
تفضل يلا مشينا.
Beautiful, yeah, very nice. So. كيف أصبح قد جميل؟
الخيل بصفة عامة عشان تثبت جماليته يعني مقسمة على 5 أشياء اللي هو الرأس، العنق، الجسم، الحركة، الشخصية العربية. شخصية يعني الخيل العربية عندها شخصية، عندها هوية عربية. لما أشوف الشخص هذا أقول هذا عربي أو هذا أوروبي. نفس الخيل برضو فيها الشيء هذا فيها الجاذبية هذه كلها لها تقييمه وتقييمه يعني يرفع معدل الجمال فيها جمعها لنا بالفحل هذا بسم الله عليه ما شاء الله يعني يعد من أجمل الخيول العربية.
This horse has always been linked to the countries rich and powerful. Many of them have their own thoroughbred Arabian horse. Every year they gather at the largest horse festival in eastern Saudi Arabia. This is a party for the elite.
Nou, als je rijkdom in Saudi-Arabië wil zien, dan is dit echt de plek. Hier komt het geld bij elkaar. Nou, dat is een groep mannen die zijn ingehuurd om die paarden op te zwepen. Het zijn nogal gepassioneerde paarden. Een beetje onstuimig ook af en toe. En dat willen ze graag zien. Er hangt ook nog prijzengeld aan vast. Maar het gaat vooral om de eer, namelijk wie heeft het mooiste paard van Saudi-Arabië.
Schoonheidswedstrijd. Zoals we een misverkiezing hebben, is dat hier voor de paarden. Maar altijd al bestaan voor alle rassen hoor. Exterieur, keuring, zo noemen we het.
Dat heet zo.
Correct, ja.
Zo'n toppaard, hè? Wat kost dat eigenlijk?
Werkelijk toppaard, een witte raaf. 3 miljoen, 4 miljoen dollar.
Maar wie kan er eigenlijk zo'n paard betalen? Ik bedoel echt het topsegment.
Het topsegment, ja, dat zijn enkel de paar sheiks die dat kunnen veroorloven.
Er is straks in de koningsklasse paarden die 10 jaar en ouder zijn. Wie is voor u een van de kanshebbers?
Wel, een van de kanshebbers is misschien wel de prins met een van zijn paarden. Die kans zit er dik in.
Security has taken up a few notches, awaiting the arrival of Prince bin Nayef. He was once regarded as the crown prince. He wants to win, and if he doesn't, he will simply buy the horse that won.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to announce the medal-winning mares. A very, very exciting and interesting competition. They were all above the 90-point mark.
No one knows how many princes there are exactly. It is estimated that there are several thousand.
Waarschijnlijk is het zijn eigen paard.
لصاحب السمو الملكي الامير خالد بن سلطان بن عبد العزيز ال سعود حرمة
The House of Saud reigns supreme. Many of the most important jobs are assigned to family members. Prince bin Naif is governor of the Eastern Province.
Bijna een soort heiligheid in dit land gewoon. Want hij wordt echt helemaal afgedekt. 50 man aan bodyguards heeft hij. Nou, dit is dus typisch het huis van Saud. Onaantastbaar, onschendbaar, maar ook onbereikbaar.
Questions are not allowed. The royal family's word is law in this country. They have a firm grip on the most important source of income: oil. Gigantic amounts of it had been found by Western geologists under the Arabian Peninsula's desert plains.
Ja, dit is dus Aramco, het grootste oliebedrijf van de wereld. En ik zit in een Aramco-auto, want die kan niet zomaar het terrein op hier. Het is gewoon eigenlijk gewoon een hele stad in een stad. So can we go closer?
Of course, please. This is the first oil well in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
The first place where they found oil.
Oil, correct.
This is the really first place.
Yes, correct.
Yeah?
They actually started by drilling 10 wells at that time, 1933. So they drilled well number 1, number 2, 3. For number 1, they find just gas and some water.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, no oil. They were totally disappointed.
Unlike their neighboring countries, the disappointed Saudis didn't find any oil. But a stubborn American geologist called Max Steinecke kept searching. His idea was to drill deeper.
So Max, he decided just randomly to come back to well number 7, and then he drilled deeper up to like 1,441 meters.
Wow.
Then the oil started to strike.
So the history could be different for us if we were the one who found the oil, but it was the Americans.
It was the Americans, and that's where we had the concession agreement with the American geologists, and that's where they named the Aramco company Aramco, which comes from Arabian American Oil Company, since they are the one who discovered the oil. So it was like 50% investment.
And now?
50. No, now it's been Saudi.
Totally Saudi?
Totally Saudi.
And where does the revenue of Aramco go?
It's government-owned company.
Also to the royal house?
Yes, of course, because it's government-owned. Correct.
I see that Alina is taken aback. She just admitted that a lot of the oil revenues flow to the royal family. How much is a secret. Aramco is the most profitable company in the world. It is worth almost $2 trillion. The oil discovery also meant that more Westerners entered the country. They took up residence behind the closed doors of Aramco, together with Saudi employees.
How long do you work for Aramco?
For Aramco now, 20 years.
On the compound?
I used to, but I moved out. Yes, I used to. I like it there because it's more convenient for me. I have my car, I'm driving, moving around, so that was a good thing.
So you're driving a car on the compound?
Oh, yes,
Yeah?
of course.
And outside the compound?
No.
So the life inside the compound is different as outside the compound.
Absolutely. We call it the Little America because we have all the facilities, even the greens, the plants, the gardens, the houses are built like in American style, so women can drive. Yeah. So it's absolutely Little America.
But to be honest, I traveled in Saudi Arabia now for weeks. You are the first female that tells me that she's working for 20 years.
Because it was an Arabian American oil company, and at that time we hired so many Americans, a large number of Americans, females and males, of course. So, and that is the big influence.
So Aramco had a role in the emancipation of Saudi women.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, of course, and we were proud of that.
Alina is quite frank, and so she's no longer allowed to guide us. For years, a veil of secrecy has hung over the compound. Many Saudis consider this place to be depraved. Men and women mingled freely here. The strictly Islamic society took offense at this. We have to hide our camera.
Dit ziet er allemaal heel goed uit, goed georganiseerd ook. Man en vrouw door elkaar, maar ook allerlei mooie voorzieningen voor kinderen. Ook een bioscoop hier achter me, cafeetjes, restaurantjes. Het is eigenlijk een heel andere wereld hier. En ondertussen moet ik ook even goed om me heen kijken dat er geen mensen van de beveiliging zijn die ons misschien staande kunnen houden hier. De Saudische staat die ziet het eigenlijk helemaal niet zitten dat wij hier filmen. En dat heeft te maken met dat er hier toch een ander leven is dan buiten de muren van dit bedrijf.
From 1933 onwards, the Americans were involved with the oil extraction. This enabled the countries to strike a wonderful deal when they needed each other most.
Nou, Bitter Lake wat daar ligt, daar verderop, daar werd in 1945 een cruciale overeenkomst gesloten op een marineschip tussen de Amerikaanse president Roosevelt en de Saudische koning Abdulaziz. En die overeenkomst, dat is eigenlijk een scharnierpunt in de geschiedenis van Saudi-Arabië. En ik denk in de wereldgeschiedenis.
After 1945, America needed lots of oil. Saudi Arabia was able to deliver it, and the country's founder, King Abdulaziz, saw it as an opportunity to spread his faith. The Saudis agreed to exchange oil for money, but they would decide how it was spent.
It's the annual classic car show we do every year. It's a gathering for people to enjoy the cars, to enjoy the beautiful designs of the 50s and 40s classic cars.
And do Saudis like cars?
Yeah, they love cars.
Mm-hmm.
We used to buy pickups so we can carry stuff, sheep, camels, and people in the pickup.
Because you didn't find oil yet then.
Yeah, no, the oil was found in Saudi Arabia from the 30s, but it was not as much as today. So thanks God for all what we have, alhamdulillah.
The discovery of oil led to an abundant supply of money, and most of it ended up here, in Diriyah, a town near Riyadh. Ever since the founding of Saudi Arabia, this is where power and faith converge.
I heard that also some cars are from the royal family.
Yeah.
That's true?
Yes. King Salman, to support the youth and the show, he accepted to present 4 of his personal car that he used to drive in the 70s.
Is it possible to buy a car from a royal family?
It's possible, but it's rare, so it's expensive.
So this is for the rich Saudiers.
Depends how do you find rich. Maybe you say if you have 1 million you are rich, but for me maybe $100 million is a rich guy.
What is rich for you?
100 million. قالوا نبي نصور مع واحد مليونير. قلت أجيب لكم مليونير.
We are lucky. Sattam, the organizer of the auto show, sees one of the truly wealthy walk by. Prince Saud bin Turki Al Saud.
You're from the royal family?
Yeah.
So are you gonna buy a car at the auction?
Maybe, why not?
Maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Which one?
The red one.
The red one, yeah?
If he likes the red one, he's rich.
How many princes there are in Saudi Arabia?
Maybe 4 or 3, 5,000.
4 or 3, 5,000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of princes, huh?
Yeah.
You know them all also?
Yes, I know
everybody.
Not in particular, but I know them all.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
In the family, you are also speaking about the changes. How is that inside the family?
Everybody's happy about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody supports also?
Yes, we support 200% everything. You can excuse me because my son is waiting.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
The prince is extremely friendly, but as soon as we talk about the reforms, he has to go. And he doesn't want to talk to me later on either. I feel that we need to be careful. King Salman's car hasn't been sold. His palace is nearby. Fortunately, Sattam allows me to get in. He's willing to bring me closer. He knows the town inside out.
So we are royal now with the red carpet. We are famous. I'm from Diriyah. My grandfather is from Diriyah. And also, I'm with the Prince of Diriyah, is a close friend. هلا يا عم. مستمتعين؟ بالتوفيق إن شاء الله. آمين آمين.
We see King Salman's country house rise up in the distance. One of the locals I met at the auto show is willing to bring me closer to the palace. Only later do I find out how powerful Mansour al-Shahoub is.
أسرتنا مرتبطة بالأسرة آل سعود عبر التاريخ. قصر طويل العمر الله يطول عمره ويخليه كينج سلمان. قصر العوجة.
He's there now? King Salman?
Yeah.
Koning van Saudi-Arabië. It's huge, eh? Big, كبير.
Huh? نعم. نعم أسرة آل سعود بدأت الحكم الدولة السعودية الأولى بدأت من هنا.
Dat is best grappig. Dus het paleis van de huidige koning Salman zit rechts, zeg maar. En het paleis van de oude koning, van de eerste koning Saud, aan de andere zijde van de stad. Dit is dus ook echt de stad waar het allemaal is begonnen hier. So this is the most important city in Saudi Arabia then.
هذه أهم مدينة في لأنها هي بداية التأسيس لأنها هي العاصمة الأولى. وسور الدرعية كما تعرفون ويعرف الجميع أن سور الدرعية حصار الدرعية هذا جزء منه السور التاريخي.
السور التاريخي؟
أي نعم. هذا السور كان محاوط للدرعية ككل. هذا جزء منه.
Not only is this small city the birthplace of the House of Saud, but it is also here that in the 18th century the alliance was forged between Mohammed ibn Saud and religious leader Sheikh Abdul al-Wahhab. This alliance found massive support and led to the Saudi Arabia of today. The royal house of Saud rose to power thanks to Wahhabism, the ultra-orthodox Islamic doctrine as state religion.
So that was the palace of King Saud. But what about al-Wahhab?
هذا مسجد الشيخ محمد عبد الوهاب وهذا وسكنه.
هذا؟
نعم. وهذا مسجده. كان في الوادي، هذا الوادي وكان على الوادي.
سلام.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله، كيف حالكم؟
ولم يكن هناك.
حياكم الله يا اخوان. اهلا وسهلا. كيف حالكم؟
To my surprise, we are right next to the mosque. Mansour is the head of an important family in Diriyah. Without asking permission, he takes me to the mosque of Abdul al-Wahhab, the religious reformer who introduced Wahhabism 3 centuries ago. He said that those who didn't follow the true faith could even be fought with violence.
Het ziet er wel heel nieuw uit, moet ik zeggen.
These ideas inspired groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS to spread death and destruction.
كما تشاهد الآن هذا مسجد الشيخ محمد بن الوهاب بعد بنائه. جميع الفروض تؤدى فيه.
So there are some groups who are using his ideology to use violence. They call him an extremist. What do you think about that?
غير صحيح. الشيخ محمد بن الوهاب درسنا كتبه وطلعنا على كتبه، وذا لم يدعو في يوم من الأيام لنوع شيء اسمه الجهاد أو الإرهاب أو ما يسمى أنه إرهاب أو كذا. غير صحيح. إلى مسكنه، إلى مسجده، إلى موقعه، كله كلام هذا مركب تركيب. هو فقط إمام مثل أئمة الآخرين.
My visit to the mosque reveals a sore spot. The ideology that has been exported using oil money leading to violence in other places has its origins here. Mansour wants to rectify this image.
تلاحظون الآن، هل رأيت كتب؟ هل رأيت شيء للشيخ محمد بن الوهاب؟ هل رأيت شيء ما يغير؟ اللهم كلها مصاحف وقرآن، قرآن صغير وكبير كما ترون، مصاحف. لا يوجد هناك كما يدعي الغرب أن الشيخ محمد بن الوهاب أمر أو طلب كتبه أو تدرس وكذا.
Wat het voor mij dan nog verrassend maakt, is dus dat een local uit Diriyah tegen mij zegt: ja, maar dat hele gedachtegoed van hem is verkeerd uitgelegd. Maar als ik dan zie wat voor ellende het heeft veroorzaakt in al die landen waar ik ben geweest, Libië, Syrië, Irak, Afghanistan. Kijk hoe vredig het hier is. En hoe het dus elders, wat voor ellende het heeft veroorzaakt. En dat allemaal is begonnen hier, op deze plek waar die man is geboren en waar hij zijn gedachtegoed heeft verspreid over de hele wereld. Dat is toch bizar.
The brewing fundamentalism that was embraced by many Saudis first damaged the House of Saud itself. As a protest against foreign influences and women's rights, such as Aramco's Little America, the unfathomable happens. Mecca, the Saudi holy place, is attacked by a handful of extremists in 1979. I traveled to Jeddah to talk to an editor-in-chief who saw it happen up close and isn't afraid to talk about it.
It was a game changer. There was a creeping tide of extremism had come in.
But how did it change? Because how was it before and how was it after?
Before we were normal people. I saw all the James Bond movies in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, with my mother in the 70s and early 80s. And it was totally different before the Sahara came, the awakening came.
The Saudi king was shocked. His power rested on the alliance with religious leaders, but resistance had grown. The attackers were executed and he had a solution to prevent further uprisings. Wahhabism needed to be followed more strictly. This was called the awakening.
So this Sahwa, the awakening that came in 30 years, was really disastrous for the Arab world.
And then the attack came, and then everything changed.
Yes.
And what was the first thing what changed?
I mean, the relegation of women in the background, the mosques used to come and say things wrong, things that were totally alien. I mean, things that didn't even concern us, covering the faces, hellfire, brimstone, born-again Muslims.
The bad thing on that attack is that the aggressor won. He wanted something that the country gets more conservative.
Yes.
And he succeeded in that.
So he lost the battle, but won the war. It brought in dark clouds. I think it was hijacked by preachers.
From then on, religious conservatism had an even tighter grip on Saudi Arabia. Women were forced to cover their faces. Cinemas were closed, while the doors opened for extremism.
We have supported many organizations here and there. Of course, there are issues, the issue of extremism, the attack on the haram, the rising tide of intolerance. Yes, we admit we made a mistake, and then even the Crown Prince said that we made a mistake, and that caused all these problems.
Yeah. The extremism reached its apogee during the September 11 attacks. Not far from the editor-in-chief's office is the birthplace of the man who changed the world.
Is this official Bin Laden road?
Yeah. This is Bin Laden route.
Ja, de Bin Laden die de wereld kent is natuurlijk Osama Bin Laden. Misschien wel de bekendste Saudiër ooit. Dit is de wijk waar hij is geboren, is opgegroeid. Hij komt uit een grote familie.
Bin Laden's father made his money constructing roads. He was closely tied to the Saudi royal family. After oil was discovered, he was assigned large construction projects. We aren't allowed to film here either.
Deze hele wijk was dus in handen van de familie van Bin Laden. Gewoon echt een deel van de stad Jeddah. En deze weg is dus vernoemd naar de familienaam Bin Laden. Hier, dit hele complex. Het huis staat er nog. En je ziet een licht oranjekleurig gebouw. Hier is hij dus opgegroeid. En er wonen nog familieleden, maar die worden afgeschermd.
This is
Let me walk here.
Walk?
Walk.
Stop here?
Yeah.
This mosque contributed to his radicalization and is closed now. But the effect of the sermons here has changed the way the world views Saudi Arabia forever. Now that the country appears to be opening up, I am invited by Mansour and his son Salah to visit their home. They want to distance themselves from the extremism.
أبدا وسطي ولا نعرف هذا الأشياء اللي يقال عنها الإرهاب والجهاد لا نعرف هذه الأشياء ولم نعرفها إلا في العشر سنوات الأخيرة هذه اللي سمعنا فيها.
Of course we had all the attacks and all the world they don't know, of course. They will link the terrorism with us, which is wrong.
But there is a strict form of the Islam in Saudi Arabia. You agree on that?
We had some conservative periods, but that doesn't mean that we accept the terrorism or the jihadis or any part of those of that ideology.
But 9/11, it made a very bad image of Saudi Arabia.
Of course, that affects us, and the first people who got hurt are us, and the attacks of them in Saudi Arabia, and we lived it, and we were scared out of it, and we hated it.
was in Saudi Arabia, more than 60 or 70 attacks in Saudi Arabia, and it was bloody, ugly thing that no human can accept ever.
Mohammed bin Salman slams the door in the face of extremism. He says he wants to return to moderate Islam of before 1979. This makes him popular among young people.
نحن فقط نعود إلى ما كنا عليه. الإسلام الوسطي المعتدل المنفتح على العالم وبكل صراحة. لن نضيع.
The good thing about His Royal Highness, we studied at the same school, by the way.
Do you know him also, personally?
Yes, personally. When we were young, we lived a normal life that the young population lived, and he heard their needs, and he was one of them. Now, as a leader, he's taking us to what is called future.
It is Friday. The family and thus the elite of Saudi Arabia gathers. I am asked to stay and eat with them. The guests are surprised to see me.
Nice to meet you too.
Salah. Who are these people? Is it all family?
No, not all of them are family. We have like architects, engineers, generals.
How important is this for the Saudi people?
You find it in all the families. It's very important if anyone needs anything from the other, so they can help each other.
This is the real Darayel. My grandfather now, he was one with the late King Abdulaziz. Yeah, his name Mohammed. So the family has a very close tie. They served the country for a long time.
So then I understand the loyalty of you and the people to the kingdom.
Our parents, our grandparents, they're passing this loyalty to us, and we're going to carry on to my son and so forth.
This is the protective ring around the royal family. They are most loyal. The question is whether it is possible to criticize the royal family.
Like critics on the royal family, is that possible?
Yeah.
Openly,
yes.
Without getting any penalty? Or...
No. If a critic is within the boundaries of respect, fine. But you don't go and start shouting and bluffing or saying lies, and they will let you go.
And if you do that, you get penalties.
They should be penalized. If somebody who's not respecting the king or the laws and everything, he should not be respected. You might get me in trouble now, huh?
Off camera, there is clearly a fear to say something wrong, even among the elite. Salah takes me to the place where there are women. He'd rather show me the image of the new Saudi Arabia.
All of this is okayed by the government. We have the Entertainment Authority. It's a new authority started by...
It calls the Entertainment Authority?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And they are planning to make 5,500 events like this.
It's very crowded here.
Yeah, it's very crowded. And you see all the kind of the community, the old and the young, girls, ladies, and children.
But a lot of girls.
Yeah. They're happy to be here and to have this opportunity with them.
What happened with Saudi Arabia?
Well, we have the great Crown Prince, and he's doing a very great job supporting the young population.
So people are ready for change?
Yeah, they are happy, and he's an idol.
And does the Crown Prince also work on better human rights for Saudi Arabia?
Yes, he's promised with a good, better, and he's doing very well. What he did in 2 years, it take another countries 100 years to change it this fast.
For Salah, the Crown Prince is a synonym for change. The government supports young people financially to start small companies. This only increases the faith in reforms.
Is this the new energy in Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Because, you know, 70% of Saudi population, they are under 30 years old.
Very young population.
Very young, and they all have this energy to work, and they have energy to produce things.
So nobody can stop the changes?
No one can stop the change.
Prince Mohammed bin Salman won't stop.
Yes,
he will make it go further, I'm sure.
Yes. This is my country. I can't leave it. I have to fight for it.
Young people are fighting for the reforms. But this is made much harder due to events surrounding the Crown Prince. On the 2nd of October 2018, journalist Jamal Khashoggi is murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is suspected of giving the order, but the royal family denies it. As the news is reported, I try to gauge public opinion in Saudi Arabia itself.
Het valt niet mee om een krant te kopen hier, maar... وين ممكن نشتري جريدة؟
بعد المدرسة؟
Ja.
في مكتبة؟
في مكتبة؟
أي في.
شكرا.
عفوا. أهلا وسهلا.
Ze doen wel erg hun best om het imago op te krikken, maar ja, het werkt natuurlijk niet als je een Saudische journalist laat vermoorden. En het is echt een ontzettend gevoelig onderwerp hier. Nou, eindelijk een krantenkiosk gevonden. Salam alaikum. Marhaba. كيف حال؟ الجريدة اليوم؟ اليوم؟ جريدة؟ خبر الصحفي؟
دي شوف كله مكتوب، شوف كله حق اليوم جرايد. ما نعرف ايش اللي فيه. صحفيين كله ما في كويس قرايه.
Nou, de man zegt dus dat hij niet kan lezen. Wat natuurlijk een beetje lachwekkend is als je een boekwinkel hebt. Maar het is eigenlijk gewoon een smoes om niet te praten over wat het nieuws nu beheert in Saudi-Arabië. Dit zijn 2 grote kranten in Saudi-Arabië. Maar echt bizar, de hele wereld heeft het erover, over die verdwijning. En allebei openen de krant met een foto van de koning. En een fijn gesprek met Trump. En dat Trump Saudi-Arabië steunt. Je zou zeggen van nou, er staat een kritisch stuk over waarom maar 15 ambtenaren vanuit Saudi-Arabië naar Istanbul zijn vertrokken. Er is ook een arts meegegaan. Waarom? Dit zegt genoeg over persvrijheid in dit land. Je zou natuurlijk gek zijn om een heel kritisch artikel te schrijven over verdwijning van die journalist. Want het zou zomaar kunnen dat jij dan zelf ook verdwijnt.
It is not easy to survive for journalists in this country. Often it is simply safest to remain silent. But Khalid Al-Mayena, Khashoggi's editor-in-chief for 12 years, is willing to take the risk and talks.
I was looking to Saudi newspapers. It was all the same headlines with the same picture.
See, every newspaper depends on its own editors. There are those who want to, and there are those not. Today in the Arab news, Faisal Abbas wrote a beautiful article saying that, after this sad incident, things have to change. So I think it's important to have real journalists, people who care more for society, because journalism is not an easy thing.
No, it's a very dangerous job also. What happened is also acknowledgement about that there is no press freedom. What happened with this journalist?
No, it was, I'll be the first to tell you that it was a total, not error, it was a calumny, it was a crime and all, and the government has accepted the fact. I mean, a lot of these things happen. Nobody's condoning. I'm the last person, because it could have been anyone, but these things should never happen again. I mean, this has happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, but this journalist couldn't work in Saudi Arabia and flew abroad. Because he said I couldn't work here in Saudi
Arabia. I was his
also.
boss for 12 years. He had several issues. I applaud him for this. But then he went on and he said that he could not for fear of being taken aside.
But you agree with me that happenings like this, it doesn't make Saudi Arabia's image in the West not very good.
It doesn't make the image look good here.
Yeah.
You think that the people here approved of this? Believe me, I am sure that the people who did this, and I pray to God that the people who did this will be taken to task, it will be made public, and there should be no stone unturned to find out the motives of the killers and who were the killers.
The editor-in-chief carefully weighs his words. He knows about the accusations against Mohammed bin Salman.
Is it possible to criticize MBS or his policy?
There's a way to do it. You know, there's a way to do it. I mean, I have even been writing about the sponsorship system, which I think it was, and I wrote it in slavery. In Mecca newspaper, I wrote in the Gazette and all. Nothing happened to me. Today, if there are elections, he will win hands down. Believe me. I will vote for him, not for somebody else. We don't want somebody who's archaic person. We don't want somebody who will take us backwards.
Even Khashoggi's former editor-in-chief draws a line at the royal family. Criticism is fine, as long as it isn't directed towards Mohammed bin Salman, not just out of fear of retaliation, but also the fear of returning to the old Saudi Arabia. The only thing left to do is to attend this first mixed screening with Saleh. He tries to be proud of what has been achieved so far, but he knows his beloved crown prince has shown the world another side of him. Next week, I follow the Pilgrim's Trail, all the way to the Holy Kaaba in Mecca.
So God has given the power to Saudi Arabia.
I think it is a gift from God.
There is a call for moderate Islam, but do religious leaders support it? We see Saudi Arabia as the country of oil and strict Islam, where women wear veils and kisses are edited out from films. But suddenly, there was a new crown prince. He says he wants to reform the country, women get more rights and tourists will soon be welcome. The country has become less dependent on oil. At the same time, the people are ruled with an iron fist. One wrong word can have serious consequences. In this year of changes, I travel around the country and follow the developments on the inside through the eyes of the citizens. Are they just empty promises, or is Saudi Arabia really able to change?
Lege stranden, een ongerepte kust, nauwelijks door de bevolking bezocht. En dit was dus de aanblik van al die pelgrims die naar Saudi-Arabië kwamen voor de heilige steden.
From the earliest beginnings of Islam, Muslims have come to Saudi Arabia. One of the rules of Islam is to go to the holy city of Mecca. The pilgrims moored in Jeddah harbor. Its holy cities, such as Mecca and Medina, give Saudi Arabia power in the Islamic world.
Nou, hier was dus die oude haven en achter me eigenlijk, je ziet die hoge kranen, dat is de haven nu van Jeddah. Maar het water kwam tot aan het ijzeren hekwerk daar. Dit waren eigenlijk allemaal havenpoorten. Ik tel er nu 7, maar het waren er iets van 20 tot 30. En voor elke regio hadden ze een toegangspoort. Moslims uit Noord-Afrika, die hadden een toegangspoort. Maar ook mensen uit Nederlands-Indië. En dit was dus de plek waar al die pelgrims aan land kwamen. En deze stad Jeddah is dus nog steeds het startpunt voor de tocht naar de heilige stad Mekka. En ik wil eigenlijk dezelfde route afleggen. Vooral ook omdat ik heel erg benieuwd, maar ook echt gefascineerd ben over de aantrekkingskracht van Mekka.
I want to find out what they do with it. Samir is an official of Jeddah. He guards the city center and knows every alley and every inhabitant. He's the head of an important family. The king trusts them to guide the pilgrims.
And in 1937, King Abdulaziz built this. It used to be just a sand and people cross the sand. This is the steel, that's the ship, and that's the level. But in the past, this was a big business, and 90% of the pilgrims outside Arabia, they come from this point.
How many people were coming in that time?
In the early time, maybe 50,000, 100,000, and later on. But I think, now is hundreds of thousands, and they come 2 million people. They come to pilgrim.
So this was the route of the pilgrims?
Yes. We walk this way, and then we enter this gate.
The gate to Jeddah.
To the market and to the city. This gate, we call it Al-Furda Gate.
Al-Furda Gate.
Yes. And then this is the last 200 years old corridor.
So thousands of people were walking maybe every day?
Yes. This is the first street they saw.
How many kilometers is it from here?
70 kilos, and by camel caravan it takes 2 days.
2 days from Jeddah to...
Yes. Now an hour and a half by car.
But it gives also a huge responsibility when millions of pilgrims come to this country. A huge responsibility.
Yes, and it's not very easy. And Saudi Arabia is gaining very good experience.
But Saudi Arabia also can decide which way it goes with religion.
Okay, but please, don't ask me about politics at all.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Samir breaks off the discussion on religion and power. He is afraid to say something that might damage his affairs. Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. The number of pilgrims increases all the time. Saudi Arabia does its best to manage the visiting crowds.
Het is echt een gigantische luchthaven. En dat is ook logisch, want die hele bedevaart, dat is echt een ontzettend grote industrie.
Pilgrims pour into Mecca every year, landing at the special airport. During the Hajj, the great annual pilgrimage, it's full to the brim. Planes land the rest of the year too, for the Umrah, the smaller pilgrimage that can be done any time of year. Most pilgrims save up for decades to come here. It's a high point in their lives.
How important is Umrah for you?
Very important. This is an integral part of our religion, of our faith. Hajj is a religious duty.
Yeah, it's one of the 5 pillars.
If you can afford, then you must go for Hajj once in a life. And then when we go to Makkah, then we see the house of God, house of Allah. And then we surround.
So God has given the power to Saudi Arabia, because that's
Not
why
the power, but I think it is a gift from God.
It's a gift from God. But it brings also a lot of money for Saudi Arabia. No?
This is a gift of God.
Yeah, it's a gift, And how will you travel now?
From here to Makkah by car.
You're not going with the bus?
Bus? Maybe.
Bus, yeah?
Maybe.
Maybe.
By car.
By car. By car.
The pilgrims are welcomed with a free copy of the Quran and guided towards the buses in a practiced manner. These Pakistani pilgrims can afford a rental car to go to Mecca, but rentals can't come to the airport.
What's the problem?
Our car is waiting outside.
Outside.
He is not allowed to enter this car in this premises.
Okay.
So the bus owner will not charge us if we give number of that car.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay now?
Baba, no problem. Now
there's no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
They wait for someone to bring them outside. They are stuck at the airport for now. Samir takes me to what he calls the most beautiful spot in town.
So a horse or a mule or a camel can go up and...
It is the old city palace where Abdulaziz used to have his study, the founder of modern-day Saudi Arabia. He had himself crowned king while holding the Quran, thus linking religion and politics.
Nou, ik denk niet dat ik op zijn stoel moet gaan zitten. Volgens mij wordt dat niet heel erg op prijs gesteld. Wauw, what a view.
Yes.
Wat een mooi uitzicht op de oude stad van Jeddah. So the pilgrim route was that way?
This way.
Which way?
That's it. You see? Look.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, like this?
Yes. From there all the way there. The camels come to the house where the pilgrims stayed, and then they go to the gate of Mecca, which is in Jeddah, and then they registered the record, and they give him permit, and then they go towards Mecca.
So you're from Jeddah. All your life you saw pilgrims in Jeddah.
Yes,
huh?
yes.
And you and your father and your grandfather and
yes. And I did when I was young. I did sell water to pilgrims next to the old airport.
Het gebed komt eigenlijk vanuit alle hoeken van Jeddah. Gigantische volume. En dat komt omdat er 37 moskeeën nu oproepen tot het gebed. Cardamom?
Cardamom, and we burn the coffee light.
It's a difficult time now in the world for Muslims. How will be the future for Muslims?
It is difficult for the whole world. It's not only Muslims.
But yeah, that's true. But we had a lot of troubles because of what happened in 9/11, but also Daesh. Yeah?
They are not Muslims. They are criminals. They pretend to be Muslim. In the Islamic religion, if you kill one person, like you kill the whole world in execution.
Samir rejects the crimes committed in the name of Islam. He rejects all negative images created around his faith. I follow the route he showed me. This is also a personal journey for me. With my background, Mecca played a role in my life too.
Nou, zo eigenlijk een nog veel grotere hing bij mijn opa aan de muur. En als kind begreep ik niet wat dat kubusvormige gebouw was. Maar ik dacht, het moet iets belangrijks zijn. Want een tapijt die niet op de grond ligt, maar aan de muur hangt, dat moet heel belangrijk zijn. Dat kan niet anders. Alleen hij was nog veel groter. En pas jaren later begreep ik eigenlijk pas dat het de Kaaba was. Salam. Kam flus? هذا؟
هذا تسيني.
تسيني؟
One of the habits during a pilgrimage is to wear traditional clothes. An ihram consists of just 2 pieces of fabric held together with a belt. It's a symbol of simplicity. The idea is that all pilgrims are equal, whether you're a cleaner or a bank director.
De rechterarm moet volgens hem open blijven. Dus die moet je zien. Oké, like this, yeah? Tamam? Kullu tamam?
Kullu tamam.
Shukran.
Our Pakistani pilgrims are allowed on the bus. They are glad to get away from the airport at last. Today I witness what it does to these people. A mix of tension about the journey and satisfaction that Mecca is getting closer.
Is it a special occasion? Is it for someone who is ill, or you want to pray for someone, or is it just
For everything.
everything?
The safety of your life, the safety of your religions, the safety of your future, the safety of your even life. When we will go back, then we will be a refined person.
Well, I hope you will be a fine person.
Yes, we will. Yes.
But you were not a fine person until now?
No, we are. But it will be more refined, you can say. As I told you earlier, that it is just a renewal of commitment of man with God.
Going to Mecca is a sacrifice, for some pilgrims greater than for others. These men arranged a luxury car for their journey. The question is, will it ever get here?
Alaikum salam. Have a good trip. Nou, dit is dus de Umrah voor rijke mensen. Hè? Want de rest moet in een oude bus.
Many pilgrims go to Medina first. It is the second holy city in Islam. I want to do that too and get permission from the authorities. We are even allowed to film on strict conditions. A sign says Haram area, meaning non-Muslims are not allowed here.
Maakt ook niet uit waar je bent, hè? Het is elke stap die je zet in dit land. Wordt er weer druk gebeld en opnames worden er gemaakt van je, foto's aan één stuk door de hele tijd. Die meneer ook in die witte auto.
Sadly, in order to film in Medina, I have to go without one of the crew.
Nou, daar verderop ligt Al-Haram, een heilige plek voor moslims. Het is eigenlijk gewoon de stadskern van de stad Medina. Ja, als niet-moslim mag je gewoon niet in de stadskern komen. En ik moet op zoek naar een andere cameraman die wel moslim is. Nou ja, het is gewoon niet anders.
This is my first time in a strictly Muslim area. Medina is where the Prophet Mohammed lived and was buried.
Het is vrijdag. En vrijdag is een vrije dag in de islamitische wereld. Dus ze hebben 2 vrije dagen, vrijdag en zaterdag. Nou ja, dat lijkt eigenlijk op een zondag, rustdag. Nou ja, wat doe je als je een vrije dag hebt? Dan kom je bijvoorbeeld naar dit park met het gezin.
The remainders of the famous Hijaz railway line are here. It ran from Turkey to Medina, but is now closed. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims came from the north by train.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
I'm in Istanbul.
Yeah, you go to Istanbul. Can I come with you?
How is that?
How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
You're on travel or Umrah or... Yeah?
Judging by his entourage, this is a dignitary on a day trip. It turns out to be the Minister of Muslim Affairs from Singapore.
I come here to meet my counterpart from the Kingdom of Saudi to negotiate our annual Hajj quota and all the arrangements for the Hajj. The number of pilgrims in Singapore is quite small. Actually, based on the quota, we used to have only 680. Last year, alhamdulillah, with our negotiation to 800.
So there is a quota for every country?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have to work within that quota. But my problem now is that a lot more Singaporeans, because we're becoming more affluent, want to come to Hajj. So if you register now, the waiting time is 34 years.
34 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Literally.
So it also can make people sad who are waiting for a very long time for...
Exactly. So we always have a situation where we have someone who has never been there, he's an elderly, he wants to go, but you need someone to look after him. So he brings his son, the son goes to look after the father, then the son gets married, he wants to go with his wife, but he's considered a second timer while the wife is a first timer. So all these complications, you know, because we give priority to first timer and people who wants to fulfill it, because, you know, it's the fifth pillar of Islam.
Doing the Hajj is a rare opportunity. It is best to be on good terms with Saudi Arabia because they decide how many pilgrims they will admit.
Nou, dit is de eerste moskee. De eerste plek ook waar de profeet Mohammed heeft gebeden. En dat zorgt ervoor dat er dus ook los van Mekka miljoenen moslims hier naar Medina komen.
I am allowed to join the call for prayer. A side door takes me into the oldest mosque in the world.
Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam. Sharafna. Er moet waarschijnlijk weer overlegd worden of het mag. Zoals eigenlijk elke stap alles overlegd moet worden. Nou, dit is een papiertje dat we toestemming hebben om te filmen. Het is in de moskee.
I think better...
Oh, je doet hier een microfoon? Ja.
Ja.
Oké. Ja. You will do the azan now, hè? Yeah.
Allahu Akbar,
Zo, wat een stem heeft die man. Echt. Ja, ik snap wel dat hij hier in deze moskee zit. Want dit is een van de belangrijkste moskeeën van de islamitische wereld. En er is eigenlijk één detail aan deze moskee. En dat is dat de bidrichting van deze moskee is richting Jeruzalem. En dat is eigenlijk pas later dus veranderd naar Mekka. Alle moskeeën, alle bidrichtingen, maakt niet uit waar ter wereld. De bidrichting is altijd richting Mekka.
Further into the mosque, I'm surprised to find a wedding ceremony. The union is made between the groom and the father of the bride.
Yeah. This is a marriage inside the mosque?
It's what you say, it's a contract. Nikah, you know, we can make it anywhere, but we prefer to make it in mosque.
So this is official?
Yes, it's official.
Okay. How many wives you can have in Saudi Arabia?
No, in Islam, you are allowed to, you know,
four.
Make four.
Yeah.
But mostly we are marrying one.
Hij wordt nu gefeliciteerd en krijgt zijn cadeaus.
This country is the cradle of Islam. It gives Saudi Arabia a crucial position in religious reform. But the ultra-Orthodox ideas are often expressed openly.
ايش وراء مشاهدة المرأة للمباريات من المصالح؟ مفاسد 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 عظيمة.
وينكرون إنكاح الصغيرة، فهم يريدون بذلك إلقاء العراقيل في الزواج.
I get permission to visit an important advocate of moderate Islam, Adil al-Kalbani, the former Imam of the Great Mosque in Mecca. He is highly regarded by the faithful and a known supporter of reform.
ما كان لكم أن تنبتوا شجرها.
التحدي أن تبقى على إسلامك وتتطور. في نظري أنه سرعة التغيير هي التي مؤدية للصدمة بين الناس، وإلا التغيير هو مطلوب وليس فيه شيء مخالف.
I see women without scarf. What do you think about it?
بدون نقاب يعني؟
بدون نقاب.
هذا رأيهم. لكن النقاب أمر مشروع، للمرأة الحق فيه، للمرأة الحق في لباسه، للمرأة الحق في خلعه.
Do you like music?
لا أحبها ولا أنفيها يعني. لا أنا مع من يقول أنها حلال.
قل إن الله يضل من يشاء ويهدي.
How do very Orthodox people react on you?
أيضا في كل بلد وفي كل مكان في هناك من يتمسك بالقديم أو يتمسك بالتراث أو بما فهمه ويصعب عليه التغيير. فمن هنا جاءت يعني الحملة التي أقيمت عليه أحيانا أو تقام أحيانا.
But is this the time for change, sir?
نعم.
Yeah.
أظنه.
Al-Qalbani is a spiritual leader who admits that Salafism, the Orthodox school of Islam, is a source for the ideologies of groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He would like an open debate to combat extremism.
يعني نحن سلفيون. السلفية عندنا ليست هي القتل وما يسمى بالإرهاب، لا، ليست هذه.
Is a group like Daesh, is that Salafi?
هم يقولون سلفي، لكن نحن نقول إنهم سلفيون لم يفهموا السلفية كما هي. أنت قلت قبل قليل السلفية هي منهج النبي، وأنا أقول هذا. السلفية هي منهج النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام وصحبه الكرام والصحابة والنبي عليه الصلاة والسلام كانوا يتعايشون مع الآخرين.
But Salafis like to live in the time of the Prophet, so it's also looking back to the glory time of the Islam. So what can change?
نعم هم يريدون أخذنا من هذا العصر إلى ذاك العصر. نحن بالعكس نريد الإتيان بذاك العصر إلى هذا العصر.
Adil al-Kalbani tries to hold on to Salafism while seeking to join the modern age. This causes constant friction. I am getting close to Mecca when I come across an unexpected scene.
شو تعمل؟
سياحة تمشي. نحن نلعب على الدبابات، دراجات يسمونها نارية أو دباب حق ملاهي، جولة على المنطقة ما في مشكلة. زي كذا ما شاء الله تشوف. هذا اللي يحب الجو البر. شيء ذا اللي يحب الجو بر، هذا البر.
مقول هدية أسود جنب مكة؟
لا في كل مكان، بس المحوقة هذا تقول ما يربط بين جدة ومكة. عرفت ولا لا؟ منطقة بر.
إحنا السعودية أبناء الصحراء. إيه صحراء كويس 100%. بعدين مشكلة يجي هنا، بعدين هذا كويس 100%.
This is your children? أطفال؟
هذا بنتي.
بنتي.
هذا دباب كويس.
Nou, dit is de weg naar Mekka, de heilige stad van de moslims. En ik denk dat er nog 20 kilometer te gaan is. Nou, en ik vind het best bijzonder omdat dit een stad is waar elk jaar miljoenen moslims naartoe trekken. En waar je als niet-moslim niet mag komen. Nou, het eerste bord met verboden voor niet-moslims, daar rijden we nu aan onderdoor. Niet-moslims moeten dan eigenlijk hier naar rechts rijden en terugkeren. Kijk, hieronder zie je een checkpoint. En dat is eigenlijk om te controleren of je wel of niet moslim bent. Dus wat er gebeurt hier is dat ze af en toe een auto eruit halen. En als er een bekeerling in zit, dan moet hij een certificaat laten zien dat hij zich bekeerd heeft tot de islam.
Mecca is close to non-Muslims. This is strictly supervised. Adil al-Kalbani agrees that this must not be meddled with. He even takes it a step further. There is no room for two religions on the Arabian Peninsula.
نحن لا يسمح في جزيرة العرب لا يسمح فيها دينان بنص النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام، ليس نصا من عند المملكة يعني كنظام حكومي، لا هو نص شرعي تعمل به المملكة لأنها ديانتها الإسلام. هي المملكة محافظة، دولة محافظة لأنها قبلة المسلمين، هذه لا شك. المملكة بالنسبة للمسلمين مثل الفاتيكان بالنسبة للمسيحيين، فهو منهي أن يكون فيه كنائس. كما قلت قبل قليل، كما أنه لا يسمح أن يكون هناك مسجد مثلا في الفاتيكان.
That's true. There is no masjid in the Vatican, but there is a mosque in Rome. You are allowed to open a mosque.
روم نعم. في هذا المسألة مسألة دينية. يعني ليست نقاش لو كان نظاما.
This attitude was the reason that during a tour of Western European cities in 2015, he was denied access and called a hate preacher.
ورفضوا لما كنا نخطط أن نذهب إلى هولندا، فقالوا لا تستطيع أن تأتي عبر المطار لأن هناك مظاهرات في انتظارك. فذهبت بالطائرة إلى بلجيكا ثم ركبت السيارة منها إلى هولندا. وصلنا هولندا واستقبلونا الشرطة هناك وجلسنا معهم وشرحنا لهم المراد، ثم ألقينا محاضرة بحضور الشرطة وإشرافها والحمد لله تأكد.
He has not changed his opinions since that speech in 2015. What's more, he does not reject violence if Islam is disturbed.
لأن هذا يريد البلبلة، يريد شق الجماعة. هنا لا، الحفاظ على المجموعة، الحفاظ على الكيان، هذا أمر إسلامي بحت. هذا يضرب على يده ويؤخذ عليه. لأجل هذا قال عليه الصلاة والسلام: من أتاكم وأمركم جميع.
This scares me. These people are supposed to boost religious reforms. The imam with the reputation of a reformer proclaims views that don't sit well with the West. I leave these ideas behind and go find the origins of Islam. Alongside dozens of foreign pilgrims, I climb Mount Nur in Mecca.
Als je geen conditie hebt, dan valt deze beklimming echt niet mee. Ik ben nu al bek af.
In a cave on top of this mountain, the Prophet Mohammed had his first revelation in the year 610. The angel Gabriel came to him and designated him as Allah's prophet.
Buranın önemi?
Yani bizim için buranın önemi şu anda burada bulunmak. Hazreti Peygamber bir peygamber. Ona Cenab-ı Allah bizlerin üstünde bir güç vermiştir ama validemiz Hazreti Hatice'nin buraya gelip de yemek getirişi Hazreti Peygamber'e. Burayı biz erkek olarak şu yaşımızda hani çıkarken bile zorlanıyoruz. Hazreti Hatice validemizin buraya bu şekilde gelmesi gitmesi beni en çok mesela o düşündürmüştür burada.
Geldi bak gel buna ver. Şu yavrusu ona versene o.
Ja, dit is eigenlijk niet te doen, dit. Helemaal bek af. Het is druk hier. En nou, eindelijk de top bereikt. Ja. Al die mensen proberen in die grot te komen en heeft de profeet Mohammed heeft daarin gezeten. Het is een kleine grot, 3 bij 3 ongeveer. En dit is eigenlijk de plek waar de islam begint. En waar de godsdienst die nu meer dan 1 miljard volgers heeft, begint.
The prophet stayed on this rock for almost 2 years, overlooking the Kaaba. The pilgrims won't be deterred. They want to be in the same room as him.
Al die mensen die verdringen elkaar, dat leidt tot gevaarlijke situaties. Deze mensen die klimmen omhoog. Er komen straks echt ongelukken van. Ja, hoppa. Nou, ik denk dat ik dit niet ga doen. Nou ja, ik zie dus die grote klokkentoren. Die zie je van hier. Ook eigenlijk niet te missen van welke hoek je ook daar binnen rijdt. Het is een vrij moderne stad. Veel nieuwbouw. Daar heb je een Subway. Een Pizza Hut. Ja, en dat is toch ook wel weer verrassend dat soort westerse bedrijven, dus die mogen hier dus wel een zaak openen.
After a long journey from the Red Sea coast and through Medina, we are here at last, Mecca. In my childhood, it took on mythical proportions. Finally, I get to see it for myself.
Het is toch wel even bijzonder om dat even in me op te nemen dat ik er ben. En ook wel blij dat het is gelukt. En het is echt, ja, het is bijna ongelooflijk, maar ik sta gewoon op steenworp afstand van de Kaaba. Dat is hier gewoon tegenover me. En via de inkijk van de zuilen zie ik het vierkante gebouwtje met de zwarte doek erop.
Our papers are checked constantly. In the end, we get permission to film for 50 minutes in this square.
Je zou willen dat het voor iedereen toegankelijk is. En niet alleen voor moslims.
The millions of pilgrims flocking to the Great Mosque every year are accommodated in the hotels around the square. And there are more to come. New hotels shoot up everywhere.
Ik had eigenlijk niet verwacht dat er zoveel hoogbouw om de Kaaba heen zou zijn. En als je het hebt over kritiek over Mekka, dat ligt natuurlijk hartstikke gevoelig. Het is een heilige plek. Je mag dat natuurlijk niet bekritiseren of betwisten. Ik vind het eigenlijk te commercieel.
In my hotel room, I prepare for the Umrah, the smaller pilgrimage. I will walk around the Kaaba 7 times. I have a Sufi background, one of the many Islamic branches.
Die hebben niet zoveel met dogma's, veel meer met intenties. Gevoelsmatig voor mij, ik zie het niet als plicht om op bedevaart te gaan. Maar ik vind het toch interessant om er naartoe te gaan. De plek waar miljoenen moslims van dromen. Ik denk dat je niet dichter bij het geloof kan komen.
I am taken up by the flow of people moving to the Kaaba. That velvet-clad shrine. The devotion of these pilgrims is overwhelming. They want to absorb every second. They turn a blind eye to filming on a mobile phone.
Het is wel bijzonder. Vrouwen en mannen door elkaar. Rijk, arm, eigenlijk alles. Er is geen heilige plek dan deze voor moslims. Het heilige der heiligen. De Kaaba. Het middelpunt van de islam. De zwarte steen genoemd. Uit de tijd van de profeet Adam. Het verhaal gaat dat de steen eigenlijk wit was. En dat door de zonde van de mensen de steen zwart is geworden. Nu heeft de mensheid in de afgelopen eeuw wel veel gezondigd. De devotie van de mensen hier. Ze doen er alles aan om bij de steen te komen.
My journey is done. I saw the Kaaba pictured on my grandfather's rug from up close. I saw the rapture of the pilgrims who reached Mecca at long last. The attraction of the holy cities gives Saudi Arabia religious powers. It is a mainly conservative country, while they could be a driving force behind reforms. There is a long way to go before this country becomes a beacon of religious tolerance. Next week, in our last episode, I will be traveling south to the Yemen border. The resistance against reforms is huge here.
When you talk about the capital punishment, that will never change.
Saudi Arabia persists for economic reasons, but will they be successful?
ونتقبل آراء أي جمعيات حقوقية أخرى ما لم يتعارض مع شريعتنا الإسلامية.
We see Saudi Arabia as the country of oil and strict Islam. where women wear veils and kisses are edited out from films. But suddenly, there was a new crown prince. He says he wants to reform the country, women get more rights and tourists will soon be welcome. The country has become less dependent on oil. At the same time, the people are ruled with an iron fist. One wrong word can have serious consequences. In this year of changes, I travel around the country and follow the developments on the inside through the eyes of the citizens. Are they just empty promises, or is Saudi Arabia really able to change?
Ja, het is echt een paradijs. Glashelder water ook. Parelwitte stranden en geen mens te bekennen.
This is the untouched Saudi Arabia. Over 200 islands in the Red Sea form the façade Islands. They are secluded, hardly accessible for Saudis.
Het ziet hier magisch uit, maar nog geen 80 kilometer verderop ligt Jemen, waar een gigantische ramp gaande is. Waar miljoenen mensen te maken hebben met hongersnood. Echt een groot drama. En als je dat weet en ook beseft, dan is het allemaal niet zo paradijselijk als het lijkt.
It is odd to travel through this country, not noticing the raging war in the neighboring country Yemen. As is often the case, Saudi Arabia is trying to mask reality. The unspoiled Faroe Islands are the pride of the country. Only few Saudis have been there. But 1,200 kilometers away at the annual festival in Riyadh, visitors goggle at the island's recreated beauty. Here, the polished version of the country is on display. It attracts many rich families with maids.
There are a lot of people from Philippines here?
Yeah, a lot.
Working? You're working also for her?
Yeah, she's my madam.
Can you ask her what makes her proud about Saudi Arabia?
يعني انت مدام يعني انت ايش يعني حبوا مره من سعودي يعني براود لا شو انت تترجم كل واحد مره.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Ze zijn niet heel toegankelijk.
This is the age-old Saudi Arabia, brought together in one area. Everyone passes through here.
Wat een drukte hier. Gekhuis. Salam.
Even the religious police is present. They try to call visitors to prayer, but not everyone supports that.
Een soort religieuze politie en die roepen de mensen op om de winkels te sluiten, want het gebed begint. En soms op een vrij onvriendelijke toon.
The main event can be found further on. The newly acquired American weapons.
So what type of helicopter is this?
This is an AH-64 Echo.
So this is a new weapon?
New weapon and the new version of the aircraft.
So what's the name of it?
That's the missile, we called it Hellfire.
Hellfire?
Yes, Hellfire, and it's the new design, which is Romeo.
Hellfire doesn't sound very good, eh?
I agree.
Yep. You're trained for this?
Yes.
Is this a helicopter where Saudi Arabia is proud of because they are showing this to the people?
Yes, we are really proud of it. Our creed is to defend our country.
But Saudi Arabia buys a lot of weapons, we know that, because they have a new deal with America. And but you said so to defend the country, we need a lot of weapons.
Yes.
Did you also fight in Yemen?
No.
No? No, not you didn't.
I just finished my...
Oh, you did just finish. But are you gonna? Are you gonna go?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Besides buying new weapons, Saudi Arabia wants to connect with the West in other areas too. The Royal House says that they want reform. The question is how far they will go. Will civilians get voting rights? What about women's influence on the policy? The Shura resides in the city. They are the country's consultative council. It is comprised of representatives from all regions. The king himself appoints them. The Shura has a pioneering role in the reforms. After months of negotiation, I may now take a look.
This is the main hall?
Yeah, this is the main hall. And this for royal family and the ministers for the government and the higher religious people. This in the first section. And this section actually in the middle.
Yes.
This for the Shura members. It's 150 actually.
And where does the Crown Prince sit?
He's sitting with the Grand Mufti there.
And what is the role of the Grand Mufti?
Government should ask him because if to go to the Islamic rules, principles or not. If not, they will listen to him actually. For that, it's a main...
so he has a great influence then on political issues also?
Absolutely, he has a great influence in the political issues. And this because Saudi Arabia is an Islamic country.
Will it be possible to choose Shura members?
You know, you shouldn't deal with us here like we in Europe. We need time to develop the way of thinking. Then we can talk about election. Right now, in my belief...
But let me say they could be elected.
Yeah.
What type of people will be in the Shura then?
It will be tribal people.
Tribal people?
Yeah, because tribal tradition here is very strong in Saudi Arabia.
Very conservative people also?
Conservative people. I mean the extremists.
Extremists,
extremist people in their ideas. Those kind of people would dominate, I believe, the Shura Council, if they elect it.
So you're afraid of it, that type of people can...
We are afraid about developing our country. Yeah. We want to be a modern country, and modernity would come with good ideas, not with traditional ideas that bring, sectarianism and violence in the society.
He believes free elections aren't possible yet. It would bring extremism to the Shura. The doors of the daily conference room are opened for us. The 30 women that have been allowed in for a few years sit here.
Shura is the highest consultative council to the king, and it works as some Saudi version of a parliament. We're chosen by the king at this point.
You're sitting in Jeddah at your home, and then you get a call. Do you go to the king then?
Yes, you have to swear an oath. You have to swear an oath that you will be serving basically our religion, our country, and our king.
Does the king follow every advice you give as Shura?
Everything is viewed upon by the king, and obviously it's up to him to decide what works best for this certain situation.
I'm trying to understand. It is called a parliament, but the Shura isn't elected. King Salman himself decides whether or not to take the advice. Lina too questions the value of free elections.
Would be a next step to be chosen by the people?
Possibly. Right now, I don't think we're ready, but maybe later on, part of it would be by elections.
Let me say that there was a possibility to be chosen. Would it then be able to have 30 women in the Shura, if you would?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was by voting, we wouldn't get a chance to represent basically 20% for sure. So this is the minimum. It is definitely not possible for us to go below 20%. So there are benefits from nominations.
Lina is dependent on the appointment of the king. Mainly regions far from Riyadh want to stick to tradition. I travel to this area, which is difficult to enter.
Zo, dit is wel een mooi gebied. Het is echt anders ook. Maar wat een ruig landschap.
This part of the country is linked with the terrorism of 9/11. The hijackers that attacked the Twin Towers and Pentagon are rooted here. 15 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia.
En van die 15 kapers kwamen er 9 uit dit deel. Uit dorpjes in deze vallei. In al die dorpen zitten ook vrij grote stammen die een vrij strenge invulling geven aan het geloof. Het is onherbergzaam, een beetje van de buitenwereld afgesloten, conservatief, ook arm. Veel armoede hier in deze provincie. En het is natuurlijk de perfecte voedingsbodem om mensen te recruteren. Het is echt een gevaarlijke weg dit. Nou, we dalen 3500 meter af nu. En ook echt super steil. Het gaat echt bijna loodrecht omlaag.
The villages are spread out over the valleys. On Tuesday morning, many villagers come together at the market in the province capital Abba. Farmers head over from the countryside to sell their products.
سلام عليكم. ايش عندك؟
Toothbrush.
And this is good for the teeth.
Yes.
Can you eat it?
You shouldn't eat it.
Just for your teeth.
Just for
like this is good.
Like this. This is Islamic use it. Every time is in prayer, you have to use it for prayer.
Before the prayer.
Yes. You want a cut?
Yes. There you go. De gemeenschap hier is wel erg gesloten en ook erg behoudend. En ik heb in ieder geval nog geen één vrouw zonder sluier gezien hier. En trouwens ook geen vrouw die auto rijdt. En er wordt ook gezegd dat die hervormingen, dat ze daar ook niet echt op zitten te wachten hier. Is it changed, this market?
No, it's the same. Yeah, before 100 or more than that. This market, more than that.
Are the people in Abba changed?
No, like before.
Like before,
Yeah.
still very religious, conservative?
Yeah, before. No different.
Yeah.
Just only before, no money, no petrol in Saudi Arabia. Now it's good than before because the people get money, make big house. Before the house is small. بعرى صداقة القبائل ما دخلها ناس واجد زي جدة مكة طائف من باكستان من الهند عسير ما عليها أحد.
So if the king wants to change something?
لا لازم قشين.
Really?
مهما تطورت مهما جانا من أحداث عسير هي متمسكة بذاتها بعاداتها القبلية.
In this area, various tribes lay down the law. It is difficult for the Saudi government to get the villagers to join the reforms.
وعشير تتقبل التغيير ما دام لا يمس الدين لا يمس الدولة، فنحن نتقبلها. ما دام لا يمس الطرفين دي فنحن نتقبل أي شيء.
What happens if you touch the government?
خطر لا تنجح.
Why is it dangerous?
المهم انه لا تمس الكيان السعودي وبالذات الكيان لا تمسه ما تعيش على كيف.
This is just woman. This.
Oh, yeah, all للبيع.
ايه
كم؟
Dangerous.
هذه سيمة 1550 وهذه سيمة 900.
ما شاء الله.
هذا من التراث الجنوبي.
الله يسلمك.
سلامتكم.
سلامك.
Is it allowed to walk with the daggers?
يعتبرها كرامة، فأنت لما تيجي تسحبها خطر عليه وعليك.
Is it allowed to walk with the gun? Sila? Yes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Many people here.
Have one.
Many people. Every man they have gun in the house.
Further on south, I drive over the country's highest mountain ridges. Houses are skillfully built against the slopes. There is a narrow road connecting the villages. The area is divided among local tribes. They mostly keep quiet. I try to contact a local farmer to learn more about these traditions.
مرحبا.
حياك الله. سلام سلام.
سلام.
بقعة الأشراف هذا نجي الحرم. نجي الحرم بقعة الأشراف نجي الحرم هذا. أيوة. وغرسوا لي الزراعة والتطوير. كثيرة وكل لو بقعة كل لو بقعة. مطعم.
Oh, جميل. ها؟ ناس ملتزم؟
ملتزم. جماعة وكل فرض هنا الأذان في المسجد هذا والذي يأذن كل فرض ونصلي في المسجد جماعة ويأتي الناس يأتون ويدخلوا يصلوا وبناه راعي خيرية يعني فاعل خير بناه وأنا هبت أرضا وهم بناه فاعل خير وأنا وولدي نجوم بلزومه.
يمن قريب؟
جيد شوي أيوة جيد. 50 كيلو بين الحوة ومنهم باسلين هني لكن بكفالة يدخلون بكفالة ويشتغلون معنا بكفالة أيوة. وأرضهم هذا وعلى شيء ناهي حرب.
A few miles away, I seek out the highest point in the area.
Kijk. Het is heel erg rustig en dan heel af en toe hoor je dus geluiden van mortieren of andere wapens.
A few dozen miles away, a horrible civil war has been raging for over 3 years, much to the despair of civilians who try to survive.
Saudi-Arabië heeft in de afgelopen jaren meer dan 18.000 bombardementen uitgevoerd op Jemen. En er zijn ontzettend veel burgerslachtoffers omgekomen.
The conflict has turned into a war between an international coalition under direction of Saudi Arabia and the rebels who are supported by arch-enemy Iran. Despite peace negotiations, the war threatens millions with famine.
En het wrange is dus dat de mensen hier dus net doen alsof er helemaal niets aan de hand is.
The war is far away from Riyadh. It is a different world. Not a word is said about Yemen during the presentation of Vision 2030. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's ambitious plan. The plan announces the economic, social and civil reforms.
أعتقد أنه مكونات النجاح كلها لدينا القدرة القوية والعقول القوية في السعودية سواء كانوا من الجيل الكبار أو جيل الشباب. عامل خطر لدينا باقي توفيق الله سبحانه وتعالى والعزيمة والعمل بشكل مثابر وجيد لتحقيق هذه الرؤية. محمد بن سلمان اسم.
It all sounds great, but once I return from the unruly south, I want to know if these plans are realistic and how far they go. First, I visit Lina at the sports grounds she set up herself. She's willing to discuss the future of the country.
How long does this exist, open games for girls basketball?
Since 2003, it's been running. Of course, we've expanded a lot since then. Saudi Vision 2030 clearly states that it is the objective to increase participants in sports from 13% to 40%. Then you talk about Islamically, like sports and Islam, it's huge. You look at the second pillar of Islam, which is Salah.
Yeah. You can sit there. I think it's a little bit quiet there.
Oh, okay. It's all about movement. It's you're standing, you're sitting, you're kneeling, you're constantly moving. And then also like tawaf, like hajj, like...
These reforms, are they real or is it window dressing?
I'm a big supporter of the, social reforms of the Vision 2030, a lot of the economic reforms.
Would you support reforms on human rights?
Well, we have a human rights committee in the Shura Council that you can talk to, and they deal with the human rights related issues. That's not my committee, but they're active.
Our view about Saudi Arabia is what's in the news. And Saudi Arabia is mostly in the news with negative things, as we know now with what happened with the journalists. Whose fault is that?
You're not serious.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, honestly, this whole thing about my part was not about answering anything related to this, because at this point, it's something that we're still waiting for it to unfold. You know what I mean? So I don't want to,
okay.
Something very, it's sensitive and we're...
Okay, Lina, we just leave that.
This is the tension among the Saudi population, even Shura members. Lina doesn't want to jeopardize her position. She sticks to the royal house's official story.
Do you think that the death penalty needs also a reform?
We do not question God-sent laws. So when you talk about the capital punishment is the capital punishment,
That will not change. That's not...
That will never change, because this is a country that's constitution is the Holy Quran and the Prophet saying. So obviously there are things that are God sent that we cannot change.
I head to the museum for a specific reason. Not to see even more portraits of the kings.
Nou, hij is nog geen koning, maar hij hangt er al. De kroonprins.
I head there to get closer to the square in front of the museum without suspicion. It was the location for the most heinous scenes. Locally, it is known by the irreverent name Chop Chop Square.
Want dit is de plek ook waar ze de doodstraf uitvoeren in dit land. De publiekelijke executieplek. En dat is dan ook gewoon midden op het plein ook. En nou, ik zie het afvoerputje al. Salam. Ze zijn het plein ook flink aan het schoonmaken.
Each major city has a square like this. Nationwide, there are dozens of executions each year. In very few cases, the executions aren't carried out after the order is revoked. Like in this case.
Nou, het plein ligt er heel erg vredig bij. Maar ik vind het toch een nare plek. En het is gewoon meer omdat het besef dat zeg maar, dit de plek is waar jaarlijks mensen worden onthoofd.
It's an appalling practice which I found incomprehensible. One of the most important lawyers in the Middle East, Khalid Abu Rashid, wants to clarify the death penalty for me.
There is
First, he wants to show me the city in his Rolls Royce.
Why don't you have a driver?
No, anybody drive my car. No, anybody drive my car. Okay, I have a driver for my children to go to school, but my car is exactly this car.
Nobody can drive it.
Just me, yeah.
Is it difficult to work as a lawyer in Saudi Arabia?
Not too much.
You know everything about the Sharia law also?
You know, our law, our studying in Saudi Arabia, it's also from Sharia. Yani not too big different between law and Sharia. Not too big different.
Oh, it goes in?
Yeah,
wow.
Because it's expensive. Sometimes somebody take it.
Wow.
With that, when you close it, it's go inside.
What a car.
Okay, please.
So this is your office?
Yeah.
Wow.
See? Yeah.
This is all prizes you won?
Yeah, this is all my history.
That's nice. On which occasion you can get the death penalty in Saudi Arabia?
في المملكة العربية السعودية عقوبة القتل تكون فقط لمن يقتل عمدا. هنا يتم بحقه عقوبة القتل. أما القتل الخطأ أو القتل شبه العمد فهذه بتكون عقوبته السجن ودفع الدية.
That's law who's almost 14 centuries old. Is it not outdated?
هذا القانون سواء كان قبل 1400 سنة أو بعد عشرات الآلاف السنين القاتل يقتل لأنه يتعلق بحماية الإنسان إلا في حالة واحدة إذا أهل القتيل تنازلوا فإذا تنازل أهل القتيل لا تطبق عقوبة القتل وإنما يبقى حق الدولة في الحق العام السجن أما إذا أصر أهل القتيل على تطبيق العقوبة إذن هذا حقهم ويتم فعلا تنفيذ حكم القتل القصاص.
The one who receives the death penalty, can he ask for an execution behind walls or is it always a public execution?
الأصل أنه يكون أمام العامة أمام الجميع والحكمة من ذلك أن يكون عبرة للآخرين.
The death penalty, especially the public executions, meet resistance in the West. According to the lawyer, despite the reforms, this will remain untouched.
When it's a public execution, they see it as cruel in Europe. They see it as an act against human rights. What is your opinion on that?
ونتقبل آراء أي جمعيات حقوقية أخرى ما لم يتعارض مع شريعتنا الإسلامية.
Okay, but we don't give bloggers in Europe 15-year sentence. And also we don't give a death penalty to women rights activists.
ولكن إذا هنالك قضايا فتكون للتخابر مع جهات أجنبية، قبض الأموال منه، التآمر على المملكة. إذا اختلفت القضية لم تصبح قضية مدون أو معارض، بل أصبحت قضية شخص متهم بخيانة لوطنه.
Reality is often distorted in favor of Saudi Arabia. According to the lawyer, bloggers are put in jail for being spies. Another reality, Saudi Arabia doesn't acknowledge its poverty, which affects many citizens and immigrants. I notice it in various districts in the country. We can only sneakily film it.
Dit is zeg maar de andere gezicht van Saudi-Arabië. Waar dus al die migranten worden gehuisvest. Het is echt een ghetto.
The foreign workers' situation in particular is suppressed further by the reforms. 10 million out of the 20 million Saudis are foreign workers.
Do you speak English?
Oh, I speak English.
Huh?
Yes.
Where are you from?
From Sudan.
From Sudan. Sudan?
Yes.
All from Sudan?
Finish.
Yes. Good, Saudi Arabia, life good? No good? Shwai. Working hard?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Several of these men must leave the country soon. The royal house has decided their jobs should be fulfilled by Saudis. The Chamber of Commerce is trying to aid that cause.
I can work in the marketing department, I can do editing. And to be fair, mate, like, life is not, like finding a job, making a life in Saudi is not that hard.
The unemployed Mohammed studied marketing in England. He has returned to find a well-paying job. The government wants to put him to work.
But if you don't have a job here, does the state give you money?
If you're not working, just in my case, they give you like about 2,500. That's mean 2,500 riyal.
A month?
A month.
Yeah.
Which is like, dude, I smoke, okay? I own a Jeep.
So is the youth a little bit spoiled here?
Yeah, I would say yes. Obviously, not everyone have the same circumstances I'm surrounded with. You know, just
everybody is rich.
Not everybody is rich. Everybody is having a good day.
Okay.
He is one of the 1.3 million beneficiaries the state wants to put to work.
14 سنة مدير توظيف.
ما شاء الله.
أول شيء مرحبا. إيش تخصصك مهند؟
أنا تخصصي media with media practice and production. آخر أوكي ولكن I'm looking for steady income زي ما يقولوا.
هي المشكلة يمكن ما نحتاج إنه نساعدكم بدون ما تقدم. أنت عندك experience.
زيادة الوعي.
ما تقدمت. بس أنت اثنين.
Mohammed tries to get himself a good offer. Chances are he will still have to accept a job he doesn't want.
We are working on the mindset of ours as a parents, as the brothers. That okay, this is lower level jobs like sales and
And so we are changing mindset. It changed actually with the entry of females. It's changing.
The head of recruiting is open about their policies. I start to realize what the reforms will mean for foreign workers. If the plans move forward, the city will look different.
What's the impact on foreign workers who have to leave this country?
The impact is positive. One of the major impact, the money would be spent here because we're hiring local. Now, if you just go to the statistics, we are second country where money goes outside.
But it's also a little bit harsh to send them away.
It is. As I said, it's not an easy to leave them go. It's not. We are happy that they're leaving, but sometimes we have to take it the hard way. There is no emotion. At the end, it's an economy.
And the people who don't want to leave but have to leave, how's that going?
Believe me, the people who's been here for more than 25 years, they're having higher standard living than here. The maids, example, I see a real example, Indonesian maid. After 25 years, she will go there, she will having a better house than the house that you're working here.
After dozens of years working, Saudi Arabia is trying to send the workers back. They didn't have many rights, but now even their right to stay is taken away.
But is it possible that I will see a Saudi who's cleaning in this country?
There is.
There is?
There is.
Wow. Okay.
If you go to wedding hall at night, the Saudis are serving. Especially the female. There is. I'm saying it's not. We are not shy of cleaning. We are cleaning our houses. We are taking care of our plants. But in terms of public cleaning, we're big. We still need it.
But why do we see it as modern slavery?
This is your point of view as a European and American. It's for us in this region, it's normal. It's a relation of employee and employer relation. I'm just brought her to work at home. She's having her right. But at the same thing, she's not the home owner.
But that's not the same rights as a Saudi has.
Our Saudis doesn't work as a homemaid.
Many things remain the same, but the effects of the reforms remain uncertain to many. I unexpectedly get a message from the lawyer. He wants to invite me to dinner at his house before I leave Saudi Arabia. We are joined by one of his colleagues.
This is traditional
Yeah, this
food?
is our traditional.
What's the name of this food? It has a special name? Sheep. Sheep.
It take 4 hours, put the fire, and you close it, and after 4 hours, you open it, and then...
Wow.
Exactly.
Ready.
Yeah.
I had a lot of interviews. Now it's more difficult. And I think it has to do with the story of the journalist.
Maybe after the dinner we can talk everything. Before that we can talk
I am taken to a side room. The call for an international investigation into the death of Khashoggi still exists. I try to bring it up.
Okay, can we talk?
Oh, if I eat this, I die. I swear to you.
Wow.
So, Mr. Khalid, the case of the journalist Khashoggi, where almost the whole world is talking about it.
إذن قانونا هذه جريمة طالما أنها وقعت داخل القنصلية فهي وقعت داخل الأراضي السعودية. إذن هذه جريمة داخلية جاري التحقيق معها مثلها مثل أي جريمة.
But why not an independent inquiry?
وفقا للقانون الجنائي، وفقا للقانون الدولي، ووفقا لاتفاقيات فيينا لحماية البعثات الدبلوماسية، أن المملكة العربية السعودية وحدها هي المختصة بمقاضاة المتهمين، وحدها هي من يصدر الأحكام في هذه القضية بموجب قوانين المملكة المستمدة من الشريعة الإسلامية. حادثة نأسف لها ونحزن عليها، جريمة وقعت مثلها مثل أي جريمة في أي دولة في العالم.
That's the end of the discussion for them. They'd rather discuss the future. New projects that have been announced by the kingdom, like the megalomaniacal Neom.
Neom is a new project that it's on the Red Sea, in very strategic place with the best weather in the Arabian Peninsula. Open areas, free zones, open the trade for all the Middle East.
Also for tourism?
Yeah.
Yes.
كان إنها تلبس بكيني مو هو الهدف، مش هو ذا اللي شاهد، يعني هي ذي الحرية؟ لا ما هي حرية.
The Neom, is that the most important project for the coming years for Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, we are talking about $500 billion in that project.
حيكون لنا دور إعلامي أقوى والعالم يعلم من هي المملكة، يعلم مكانة المملكة وإن شاء الله تعالى انتصار المملكة في مختلف المجالات.
The reforms will not turn back?
I don't think so, because it's not a reform. Actually, this is us.
Exactly.
This is us.
They sent me north to the plains on which Neom will be built. A big plan to make a state filled with entertainment and free play. The Crown Prince tries to keep his power, despite Khashoggi's murder. All hope is set on this project. It will be my last trip through Saudi Arabia. I will take what I have seen while traveling here with me. The hope, the wealth, the despair and the poverty. Saudi Arabia sketches a future which they hope the West will believe.
حياة تترجم ديننا السمح وعاداتنا وتقاليدنا الطيبة ونتعايش مع العالم ونساهم في تنمية وطننا ووطن العالم.
For now, all I see is desert.
Nou, hier op deze kale vlakte zal een gigantisch gebied verrijzen, vol van entertainment. En het is Saudi-Arabië, maar in dit gebied zullen de imams geen invloed hebben. Twee werelden die dus naast elkaar moeten bestaan. Het oerconservatieve met het liberale. Het is toch een stille droom van dit land om die bij elkaar te brengen. En ik weet niet of het gaat lukken, maar het wordt wel heel erg spannend hier.
As long as Saudi Arabia is an absolute monarchy, supported by spiritual leaders, and as long as the Sharia governs, the divide with the West will remain. The reforms hardly help that. But I realize that, in a country where women and activists are oppressed, every step towards freedom is welcome.